another episode of Borough Briggs Beat, the official podcast of Elgin City Football Club. Tonight my guest, it's going to be a special, it's going to be Mel MacDonald. She's the captain of Elgin City Women's team. Welcome, Mel.
Thank you for having me.
Not bad, you're welcome. It's glad to be here. We're going to touch on all things Elgin City Women, but we're just going to talk about the club in general, so hopefully we'll get through a lot of things in the next 40-45 minutes or so. Mel, you're the captain of the team, as I mentioned there. How this is your second full season as a club. How proud do you feel to be captain?
Very proud. I think from as long as I can remember, my family have had some form of involvement with Elgin City. My uncle had a season ticket, my granda had a season ticket. Obviously there's 3 generations in my family that have been born and raised in Elgin, so to get to be the captain and walk out and lead my home team out in games, it's very, very special. Whole family's very proud. Most of them come down to games. My brother comes home from Aberdeen and things like that to see me play, so definitely a big thing for the family, and yeah, absolutely no complaints. When I got the chance to come back, I couldn't help but jump at it. There was no way I was going to turn it down. So,
Is it a natural fit for you to be a captain? Do you see yourself as a leader of, well, I wouldn't say a leader of men, that's a cliche, but a leader of women?
I don't know. I think I am quite loud on the pitch, but I wouldn't, if it came to like an open pool of people to put their hand up and like be like, do you want to be the captain? I probably wouldn't put myself forward for it. But to be put forward as the captain will obviously see something in me that he trusts and that he wants to be leading on the pitch every weekend, and that's an honour in itself. There's a lot of big characters in the team, don't get me wrong, but everyone's good, everybody gets on really well, so no complaints. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't have put myself forward for anything like that. So you'd have to ask Mo what qualifies me to be the captain of the team.
And now that you've settled into that role, how have you found it? I mean, does it come naturally to be vocal on the pitch and guide other players, but more than that, off the pitch as well, maybe be a kind of mentor? And
I think looking back at how long I've played football, if you told me like 5-10 years ago that I'd be captain of a team and probably one of the loudest on the pitch, I wouldn't have believed you. I was very, very quiet as a kid. Moved into goalkeeper when I was like 12 or 13, and I think from then that's when I really found my voice, because you were being trained to shout. And since then, I think my mum just can't get me to shut up on the pitch, off the pitch. I think if she could pay somebody any amount of money to get me to be quiet for 5 minutes, she'd pay it within a heartbeat. But yeah, I don't know, honestly. It's a bizarre one.
And off the pitch as well, I mean, you're I think Lauren's maybe older than you, but you're one of the more senior players in the squad. It's a really young squad, a lot of teenagers and young girls. Do they look up to you, and do they come to you if they have any problems off the pitch or any challenges or things going on as well?
I get a lot of random messages at random times of night from the young ones. It can range from like 2 o'clock in the morning to like 7 o'clock in the morning asking for a favour, or can you give us a lift here? And because I live not far away from quite a few of them, so it's always Mel. And as soon as you get that message or you get that phone call, I'm like, what do you need from me now? But they know that I do anything for them. Anybody in the team, to be fair, anybody can message me any time of day, any time of night, and I'll do what I can to help them. Don't get me wrong, being one of the senior players in the team now came as a bit as a surprise to me. I didn't actually know that until we were at training one night, and Mo was like, right, the 2 oldest can go in the middle.
And that was you and Lauren?
Lauren wasn't there, and Carly went in, and I was looking around the circle being like, who else is it? And then it hit me, and I was like, oh my God, it's me. Which was
you're
really,
not even that old, though. You're only 26, are you?
Yeah.
26.
Which was really staggering, considering that the team I played in before, I think our oldest player was 41. So at that point, I was like, oh, I'm one of the young ones. Whereas to then skip forward a few years and I'm one of the old ones, it was really jarring. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Just comes with it.
We'll go into more depth about how the season's unfolding for you, but how much are you enjoying your football at the moment with Elgin ladies?
Oh, I'm loving it. Last season, I think I only played 9 games total. This season, I've played every game so far that we've had. So creeping very, very far towards that 9 of Heaton's total very quickly now. But yeah, I can't complain. I'm needing enough every training session, every game, and just getting to spend a lot of time with the team. And they're a great bunch of girls, so I can't complain at that.
Yeah, I can attest that, because I've been to a few games, and what a tight bunch, and just a happy family type vibe going on.
I think when you look at the squad and you see how like wide the age range is, from like obviously you've got your youngest ones at like 15, 16, and then you go right the way up to Lauren, and I'm not going to drop her age on the podcast because I know that as soon as it comes out she'll be messaging me having a go. But when you look at the range and like the different personalities and stuff, from the outside looking in, I think a lot of people can have the perspective that there's a bit of negativity in the squad, people don't really get on, but as far as I'm aware, everybody gets on. There's no negativity on or off the pitch, and we always say what happens on the pitch stays on the pitch. What's said in that 90 minutes or 120 minutes, it's heat of the moment, it happens in the game. As soon as that whistle goes and we step off that touchline, then it's back to being friends and hyping each other up and trying to do everything we can for each other.
I mean, football teams, I presume most teams, you'll have like a team WhatsApp chat group or something like that. Is that how you communicate out with the
so
training
we've got like our main chat where like Mo can put in messages and whatever, and Chris is in there as well, G's in there, Sarah's in there, but we have got our players only chat, which is usually where all the chaos comes in. You get the drunk messages and the daft videos and photos and stuff, and I think Dozer's just put in from her challenge on Sunday where she got a yellow card. She sent in the screen recording from the VO and went, never a yellow, which I would be inclined to agree, but to be fair, I think Emma needn't have knocked that girl into next week, so I think that was a pretty fair yellow card. But she knocked me off my feet in the second half as well, so if you hit that girl as hard as you hit me, then you know it when Dozer hit you.
It's fair to say Emma does like a robust challenge, doesn't she?
She's built like a brick wall. People just run at her and bounce off her, so I don't even think she realises that she's floored folk half the time.
Brilliant. We'll maybe come back to that later, but I mean, in general terms, the profile of the Elgin women's team has kind of gone through the roof this season. I mean, there's sponsorships left, right and centre. You're getting games played at Borough Briggs. I mean, you're doing well in both the cups. Again, we'll touch on that later. But I mean, can you believe the way the profile has just gone, skyrocketing?
I think when I first joined, I didn't really know what to expect. With the team I was at before, there was no great sponsorship. You just went along with whatever the men's team and the women's first team did, and that was that. And you got your hand-me-down kits and whatever. So coming into Elgin, I really didn't know what to expect. But to be looking at it now, I think we've got 52, 53 sponsors right across the board, from rear kits to front of kits, sleeves, players' individual sponsors as well, and it ranges from like local companies in England. You've even then got Mia's family out in Norway that are sponsoring people now. So it's nothing I could have ever imagined. I think the work that goes on behind the scenes from Chris, from G, from Mo, even from my mum. Like
I was going to give a shout out to your mum, because she does a massive amount of work. Wendy Lang, you will be listening eventually, because you're going to have to listen to your daughter, but your mum, they do a power of work behind the scenes.
I think my mum doesn't actually stop working. I think between how much work she does at Murray Food Plus, and then when she comes home, she's straight on the mind of who can I get to sponsor this player. Like, if we just signed a new player, mum's like, right, who can I get to sponsor them, or what can I do to help, or we're playing at Borough Briggs at the weekend, I can maybe get a football card for us to raise a bit of money, we'll maybe do a 50-50, things like that. And I actually don't know how she sleeps. I don't know how she finds time to sleep, because she never stops and her brain never stops moving, and she's always coming up with some weird and wonderful idea. Like she's made a flag, so she's got her own Elgin City Women's flag.
All right. I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to see it.
She debuted it at the Ross County game, I believe.
She what?
She pulled it out of the Ross County game. It was his debut.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think, obviously she's not been to a game since then, because we were away, and she wouldn't have came down for our game that far. It's a bit too far of a trek for her, unfortunately. But this weekend at Buchan, I can only assume that it'll come out again. Because she's got the seal of approval from both Mo and Chris for it,
right.
Much to my dismay when she told me she was making a flag. But if she's happy, then I can't complain. So.
And you mentioned there Chris Foot. I mean, we've had Chris on the podcast as well. I mean, he's obviously a director of the club in general, but he's got a special remit for the women. So I mean, he's passionate about developing the women's game locally. Yeah,
he is. He's really passionate. I think. We don't know a lot of what he actually does behind the scenes, but we know that whatever he's doing, he's putting in 100%. And again, another person that I don't know how he finds time to sleep, because by the sounds of it, he never stops. He's up and down the road with the men for their games. He's up and down the road with us for our games, and he'll appear at training, and he always seems to be doing something on Facebook. Like you go on, and in the morning when you wake up, and he's been posting at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and posting then again at like 11, 12 o'clock at night. So I don't know if the man runs on fumes or just straight caffeine.
Yeah,
but yeah, Chris is another one that seems to work himself into the ground to do everything that he can for the club. So there's no way we could ever thank him enough for what he does.
No. And I mean, obviously you don't get paid. It's totally, you're playing for the love of the game and the love of the club and that. But I mean, it's a really professional setup. You've got Elgin Women. I mean, just, from the kit right through to the travel arrangements, everything about it. And I mean, I was listening to Mo's team talk on Sunday, and that it's really run very professionally. So does that feel quite humbling and proud to be part of that? Because you're playing in a very professional setup. Yeah,
exactly. I know quite a few of my friends play football, and we've all played for various clubs. We've played together, we've played against each other, and when they actually ask me about Elgin City and I explain the setup to them and things like that, they almost can't believe how much we get, and the fact that, okay, we're not getting paid, but we're also not paying to play either. There's not a lot of teams that I know of up in this area where people aren't paying subs. So basically paying to play. We're quite lucky that Elgin have just asked us to, if possible, get our own sponsor. If not, then my mum and Chris are on the case, and I'm sure they'll find a sponsor for you. But even then, a lot of people have been quite forthcoming with sponsorship. It's not exactly been hard for us to get anybody sponsored, and we always seem to be coming out with more things that we can try and get to sponsor, like boots and stuff like that this season. But it's definitely very proud. I don't think I've ever, I know for a fact I've never been part of a club since I started playing football when I was 6, 7 that's had a setup like this. As far as I can remember, it was always second-hand kits and hand-me-downs and make your own way to games and pay to play and stuff. But yeah, we're all very lucky to not only be part of like the first initial squad of Elgin City Women, but to also get all of these things for free, and all that's asked of us is to go out on Sunday and just play for the club that we love.
Brilliant. Good stuff. You mentioned you'd go out and play for the club that you love. I mean, we'll talk a wee bit about some of the results. I mean, you're through to the next round of the League Cup, which I think is going to be a playoff to then get through to the last 16. Is that right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously on Sunday, I was there with you as well, and you're through to the next round of the Scottish Gas Scottish Women's Cup. So, and you have your first league game this Sunday. It's been a great start to the season for you in terms of the cup progress. Yeah.
I think out of every game that we've played so far, we've only lost one, which for any club, you can't really turn your nose up at that. Obviously, we would feel that we shouldn't have lost the game that we did, and we shouldn't have drawn the game that we did, but there's nothing we can do about it now. We just have to go out and perform against those teams again when we meet them in the league. But every week, regardless of if we go a goal down, if we go 2-3 goals ahead, the girls just keep their heads down and just keep fighting. Nobody's willing to settle. Going back to the game we won 18-2, like at half time, Mo said to us, he was like, I want 9 more out of you in the second half, because we went in, I think it was 9-2 at half time, and no questions asked, we went out and we scored another 9 goals in the second half. So.
And to be fair, I mean, in that scenario, it would be easy to take the foot off the gas and just coast over the line in a game like that.
Yeah, I think we saw that in our first Scottish Cup game, the one that we played at home. Was we went in at half time, can't remember what the score was, but we were walking through the game towards the last 5 minutes of the first half, and we were warned at half time that they were going to come out and the foot was going to be at the floor, and we couldn't afford to take our foot off the pedal at all, and we did. And for that first 10-15 minutes of the second half, it was not a performance that we want to think about, but St Anthony's, to their credit, they took advantage and they ended up scoring a couple of goals out of it. And like I say, Mo did warn us, and apparently we just didn't listen. But again, it's really easy to take your foot off the gas in the game, and I think the key thing that Mo wants us to do is just from the first whistle to the final whistle is just give everything you can, regardless of the result, as long as we can come off at full time and hold a hand up and say, you know what, I did everything I could today to help the squad. That's all he asks.
You mentioned that St Anthony's game. On a personal note, you had your younger brother as mascot that day, and he looked proud as punch to walk out hand in hand with Big Sis for that game. So how special a moment was that?
It was amazing. My little brother, bless him, there's 14 years between us in age, and ever since he's been able to walk and talk, it's always been, first it's been football, and second it's been farming. He's got his own little farmer business, but that's another conversation. He sells neeps up in Aberlour.
Oh, brilliant.
So he's known through there as Farmer Nape. He has his own banner, and it's a whole thing. Swear to God, he's got more money than I do. But no, I'd mentioned it to him before about being a mascot at a game last season, and then it ended up being that I couldn't actually play that game, so we never had the chance. So as soon as I found out that our first Scottish Cup game was going to be at home this season, I jumped at the chance to have him in. He knew he was getting to be a mascot. He knew he was getting a shirt. He didn't know he was going to have our surname on the back with my number on it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So when I got to show him that, his wee face lit up. And he plays football himself, but all he wants is for me to go out and train him so he can be better. But yeah, he's a character. And
what's your brother's name again?
Alistair.
Alistair.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So for the youngest of, 4, because he's got another brother as well. I've got a step-brother on that side. To be the youngest of 4, he is one loud kid. You can't miss him. He walks in the room and he knows needing up everybody. He'd speak to a wall and get a conversation out of it. He's one of those kids. But yeah, he's top class. And to have my dad and his partner and my mum and my stepdad and my other older brother there as well, it was a really special moment to walk out. The only person that wasn't there sadly was my granny, but we've printed some photos and my dad took plenty of videos and stuff for her. So she couldn't be there, but she was proud anyway.
Yeah. And overall, it was a great occasion to play. And that was your first ever Scottish Cup tie at Borough Briggs. And to have, I think the crowd was 274, and you had hospitality on. I mean, we'll touch on this again later. You had hospitality packages for about 70 people. So, I mean, just everything about the day was special, and it was the right buzz. And obviously, you got the result as well, which helped.
I think as soon as we found out we were getting that home draw for that first game, and last season, I think every Scottish Cup game we played, it was away down in the Central Belt where people couldn't really come and watch us. Don't get me wrong, some of the parents did travel, but it's a long way to go to watch us play football. So as soon as we found out we were getting this home game, everybody behind the scenes was doing everything they could to make it as big of an occasion as possible. G obviously got my little flag pendant printed so we could hand that to the captain of St Anthony, so they then have that memento as well going forward. The hospitality packages, I think we had about 70 people in hospitality. Quite a lot, like my family were there, I know Lindsay's family were there, quite a few of my friends. There was a good mix of both friends and families, and then just people who wanted to come down as well. I believe there was a whole table of the Granary Sunday Club there, so I don't know what kind of chaos was caused in there with those lot, but I didn't see it, so it didn't happen as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, everything that we could have done on that day we did, with pie shop open. They opened the club shop, and you actually saw a few people in the crowd with Elgin City scarves on. A few of my pals ended up buying the women's away top, and even just glancing in the crowd and seeing my best pals wearing the top that has been put on release just for our club, well, our side of the club, it was a very special moment.
Yeah, there's a right feel-good factor around what the women's and the men's team at the moment, and everything else about the club, but it's raising the profile of the ladies and the team in general, so long may that continue. We've touched on your manager, Mo. What's I mean, for anyone who doesn't know Mo, and I don't know how you wouldn't know Mo, but Mo played for Elgin City, defender, larger than life character, quite a robust player. I think that's the best way of putting it. He's quite a robust manager as well, actually. I think he's had a couple of sendings off, but what's Mo like as a manager, and what's he brought to the team, and what does he bring to the team?
I think what people see of Mo on the sidelines isn't the same Mo that we see at training and behind the scenes. I think a lot of people see him on the sideline and he's shouting, and he's just shouting because he wants the best out of us on a weekend. But he's always up for a laugh, and he's usually the first person to start winding anybody in the squad up. If somebody does something silly or says something silly, he's usually the first one in there with a joke. But he's unreal. I think there's not enough words to sort of describe Mo. The amount of work that he does just to put on training sessions and that for us, trying to find pitches that are suitable, making the training every week sort of applicable to what he wants from us from the weekend going forward, rather than it just being the same thing every week. It's always changing. You never really know what to expect. He also doesn't hate getting involved if we're a player short for a 5v5 or whatever at the end of the game. At the end of the session, Mo's one of the first ones to put a bib on and he just likes to try and nutmeg everybody and spin round people.
I think he still fancies himself as a player, doesn't he? He still
100%, yeah.
Got it.
He likes to try, like I say, try and nutmeg everybody in the team, and if you get the ball, not even 1 second later, he's clattering it at the side of you to try and win it off you, and you're like, oh, I've got a game on Sunday. You need to, you need to cool it a wee bit. But no, Mo's great. Comes on nights out with us after games. If we all go up to Foggies, he's one of the first ones there. So he just loves being there, loves being part of the squad, and you can tell that we're learning a lot from him, but I also think he's learning a lot from us at the same time.
Foggies, is that your home pub? Has that become your official? Yeah,
so they sponsor our warm-up tops, but they also sponsor Mo as well. And the hospitality they've given us after games, every home game has been amazing. They've come down and supported us at home games. They've came down and supported us at our awards night and stuff as well. So there's, again, everything that Phil and Kate have done to sort of sponsor the team and help us raise our profile, and just, like I say, the hospitality and stuff they put on for us on a Sunday after a game. Again, we can't thank them enough for what they do.
Yeah, brilliant. Great stuff. They've got good pool tables as well. I can vouch for that.
They have good pool tables, but we are not good at pool. So,
you're not?
No, absolutely awful. My excuse is that I've got my contact lenses in, which I can't see as good with my contact lenses as I do with my glasses. So that's one excuse. The other one is I've got my glasses on, so I'm peering over my glasses and I can't see. But usually we have to get a couple of pints into the older ones first before it even looks like we know what we're doing. Usually it's the young ones wiping the floor with us, to be fair.
I discovered last year that I was quite good at pool, and I joined a pool league and all that, but no, good stuff. Excellent. Right, we're going to talk about the club generally. We'll come round to Big G, because we had Big G on recently, and he's obviously your kit man as well. But the men's team, I mean, they're flying this season as well, unbeaten in the league. Really good vibe around things there. I mean, what are your thoughts on the way the men's team have progressed under Allan, Hale and Stefan?
I think towards the end of last season, I got to a couple of games, and you could really see sort of the change in the squad towards the end of last season. And luckily this season, because I've changed my job and I don't work weekends anymore, I've been to enough every home game we've played so far.
Right.
And even just in the round Borough Briggs, there's that feel-good factor. I think everybody believes in the squad. We've been lucky enough to be sitting in the stand the couple of games where we've had like last-minute winners, or we've scored in the last minute to claw a game back, and it's an incredible feeling, and everybody sort of knows everybody there. But yeah, definitely no complaints there.
What do you feel is the main change that they brought to the team? I mean, they have dipped into the Highland League, got some good players from there, and they're a very attack-minded team. But I mean, what do you feel they've brought?
I think they've definitely changed the style of play. The Elgin that we see now isn't an Elgin that we've seen in a while. I don't think. Just the way that they're quite happy they travel with the ball, they'll ping the ball about. Just the way that they move as a team, but also like the attitude of everybody. I think even when we've been down in games and we needed that nearly last minute equaliser and that last minute free kick to win it, there was never any doubt. Everybody believed that they could go out and win that game, and I think that makes a difference. And then to have the manager running up the touchline and celebrating in front of the stand,
that was some celebration.
It was indeed. Yeah, I think I blinked and he was standing in front of me before I realised what happened. But even
that was just like Jose Mourinho-esque, wasn't it?
Yeah, even just things like that. To have a manager that wants to go out and do everything that he can to help the team and promote the club and get as many wins as possible, and sort of, I think they've made history so far. Don't quote me on that. That they've not. This is probably their best first quarter of a season that they've had.
I was going to say 9. I mean, in that league too, which I've seen all the teams, it's very competitive. To go 9 games unbeaten is quite a remarkable achievement.
Yeah, especially to go up against East Fife quite early on in the season as well. That was almost a fight in the household, but John was told to behave himself that day.
Is he a Fifer?
Yeah, he's from East Fife.
Yeah,
he's got a good collection of East Fife tops. He loves to post on Facebook about the Myth on Milan. But he was told that day he was sitting in the Elgin end and he was going to be supporting Elgin, which he did to an extent, but there was a few times where Mum had to give him a subtle punch in the leg to get him to be quiet. But yeah, for that result, don't get me wrong, we bound him up after the game, but I think that to start your season with a result like that against East Fife, it puts the confidence in everybody going forward.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, I was speaking to Allan the other day and he said he was trying to maybe rein expectations back in a wee bit by just saying their first focus is to get themselves as far away from the relegation playoff as possible, and then see where the season takes them. But most fans are talking playoffs. Is that where you realistically see the ambitions have got to lie?
I think ideally that's where everybody wants to see us. It would be a massive turnaround from last season where we were scraping and fighting tooth and nail to stay out of the relegation playoff. But I think regardless of what we do this season, it's a massive improvement. Like, nobody can fault Allan and Stefan for what they've done. I think anywhere sort of mid to top table, in my eyes, is a massive improvement to where we've been before. Yeah,
I think your mum and John, they were down at Peterhead on Saturday with the travelling Allan's Army, and they got a fantastic result there.
Yeah,
1-0 win.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened, but my mum's never really been one for travelling to football games or going to football before, so I don't know. It was just something about Elgin City, but the woman's obsessed. She's got a season ticket, she's got a scarf, she's got tops. If it's a home game, she's there. If there's an away game and there's a bus going, she's going. I think the woman is at the club more than I am at the minute, which is pretty hard considering I'm there about 3 times a week. But
she's become a bit of a football junkie then, you know. She's just addicted to
just
all
a wee
things
bit.
Football. And
I think she is a Liverpool fan for her sins, but if you asked her, she'd much rather go to an Elgin City game than to a Liverpool game. But maybe don't quote me on that.
Who do you follow a team? I mean, I know you're an Arsenal ladies season ticket holder, but do you follow another team in England or that as well?
No, Arsenal's the only team that I follow in England. My family is a typical Scottish split down the middle, where one half's Rangers, one half Celtic. But again, my brother went the Rangers way and I went the Celtic way, so that's the only other team where my loyalties lie.
Right. Okay. Great stuff. Well, when you mentioned Celtic, they will come on to Celtic because they announced this week for their Champions League game against FC 20 that they were doing their first ever women's match programme. But obviously Elgin stole a march in that earlier this season when you did a programme for the St Anthony's Cup game and a digital version, and you're going to be doing a digital programme for every home game for the rest of the season. So I mean, that's kind of quite trailblazing as well, and kind of forward thinking.
There's not much that you can say that you've done sort of before Celtic and Rangers, especially when it comes to football, but for us to be putting out a programme before Celtic women have even thought about doing it. I don't even know if it's a thing that Glasgow City do. I know that they've sort of been leading the way in Scottish women's football for a while until the investment came in for Celtic and Rangers and they seem to have taken over, but I don't think I've ever seen a Glasgow City programme. I don't think I've ever seen a Rangers programme. Definitely hadn't seen a Celtic one at the games I've been to, and now they've pulled out one for the Champions League. So for us to do it first and for us to do it for free is massive.
And even from the point of view of giving the girls a boost and seeing themselves in a programme, feeling like that's we're playing football and we're producing match programmes. It must just give them a boost.
Yeah, I think walking into the changing room for that game at St Anthony's, and G'd obviously done what G does best and worked his magic, and everything was set up and everybody had a programme at their station and all the kits were lined up perfectly, and I had my little pendant and my captain's armband standing in front of my top, and it just, for that split second, like when you're a kid and you imagine yourself playing football when you're older, that's what you see. You see your kit laying out in front of you, team programme, matchday programme sitting there as well, and just in a changing room with some of your best pals, and to walk in for a Scottish Cup home game and to basically walk into that dream you have as a kid was a massive moment.
Aye, superb. Excellent. You mentioned there the legend that is Big G. I mean, just a word about Mr. Gilhooly. He's kit man extraordinaire. He's kit man for the first men's team, kit man for the ladies team. I think he must almost live at Boroughbriggs. I don't know if he actually ever goes home. He says he does, but I'm not convinced he does. But what would you say about Graham? He's just fantastic, isn't he?
Yeah, you can't fault G. I think near enough everybody knows G, and if you don't know G, then you should, because the man's a saint. Like you say, I don't think he ever leaves Boroughbriggs. I don't think he's ever not doing something for Elgin City. From dealing with us on a Sunday, and he does love a good song request on the bus. He likes to message the group chat with a song request, especially on the way home after a win. And he usually gets them played, but I think a few of them got skipped on Sunday, so he was licking his wounds a wee bit after that one. But no, like, G's top class. I think every time I go into the club, he's one of the first people that I see, and you just can't help but have a smile on your face when you see G. He's always in such a good mood, and he's just a character.
Mm-hmm.
He's always got a joke or a funny wee line or something that he says it and you're like, I don't think you should have said that, but I'm going to laugh at it anyway.
He's very much part of the squad, and he feels like he's part of the squad, he's part of the team, isn't he?
100%, yeah. I think without G, then our Sundays would look a lot different to what they already do. And even a training night as well, the amount of effort he goes into, he sits and he blows up the footballs and he packs up bottles of waters for us, boxes of water and that for us, and there's always a box of sweeties floating about somewhere where you've got G's wee tuck shop in his wee room.
I was going to say he thinks of everything, and he caters for the players very well, both men's and women's.
Yeah, it's like you walk in on a Sunday and in the fridge there's water, there's sports drinks, there's fruit and everything on the table, there's 6, 7, 8 different boxes of sweeties on the table as well. Anything you can think of, G's probably got it and he's put it on that table or in that fridge already for you.
Well, the one thing when he was on with Gordon Methvin a couple of weeks ago, he said one of the strangest questions, he wasn't able to meet it, was for a pair of hair straighteners. Can we just confirm that wasn't you asking for the hair straighteners?
No, I can confirm it wasn't me asking for the hair straighteners, and it also wasn't G or Mo or Chris. I actually don't have any idea who it was.
Wasn't it Dozer? She's got quite long hair. I mean, most of you have got long hair. So could have been. So it's a mystery who was asking for the hair straighteners.
I know Orla asked for hairspray, and probably Lily as well, because those two are always looking for hairspray. But hair straighteners, I've got honestly no idea. It could have been Dozer, but anyone's guess is as good as mine.
We'll find out in the next few weeks who it was. But he didn't have hair straighteners, so he fell down on that request. But we'll let him move for that one. He
has stepped up now. He's got a wee selection of different hair bobbles, just in case. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Mainly because I forgot mine, and usually there's always one on my wrist, and he's like, "Oh, I've got some," and whipped out. I think it was like 4 different ones that I could choose from. I was like,
and even nowadays in modern, you get a lot of men wearing product and hair bands. Yeah, it's like things like that.
Dejan, for example, I think he's got better hair than me.
He's got lovely hair.
I swear he spends more time on his hair in the morning or before a game than I do, because I need him to tell me how he ties up that man bun, because my hair never looks that nice when I'm playing football.
Magic. Listen to this podcast for hair styling advice. We're nearly coming to the end of this one. This has been fantastic, but we'll just quickly touch on your first league game this weekend. The men's team not in action because Scotland international break, so there's no game for the men's team. Just briefly on that, Craig Gordon you started as a goalkeeper. Craig Gordon is set to play at the age of 41. What do you think of Craig Gordon come back? And that's quite an amazing story, that, isn't it?
Yeah, especially, did he not just come back off like a double leg break?
He had a double leg break in December 2022, and he was out for ages. So.
I remember, I didn't see the challenge, thankfully, but I saw it on Twitter or X or Facebook or wherever, the aftermath of it, and I was like, that's awful. I was like, I'd be surprised if I ever see him in a football kit again. And it wasn't even that long after that he'd returned to training, which I found incredible in itself. But for him to be 41 and still playing, I think Craig Gordon's been playing football for as long as I can remember. So it was going to be a very weird day when he finally hangs up the goalie gloves.
Yeah, Scotland playing Croatia and Portugal this weekend. So you start your SWFL North season this Sunday against Buchan Ladies at the Gleaner, 2:00 kickoff. So if anyone wants to get down, it's free admission. All they ask is you take along a donation for Murray Food Plus. Yeah. Just a non-perishable food item, a tin of beans or packet of pasta, whatever. You've been doing that for every home game, haven't you? And you will be for the season. Yeah, so it started last season. That was another one of G's great ideas, where Chris had asked us if we had a local charity that we wanted to sort of donate to before games. And G came up with Murray Food Plus. And obviously we put out our wee kit boxes every weekend, and for donations from both fans, players, people in the club, sort of anybody. The boxes are there all the time, so it doesn't just have to be on a Saturday or Sunday that we accept donations. Anytime that the club's open, it's the donation box is there. So the easiest way to find out what to donate is what I do is Murray Food Plus always put it on their Facebook. Right. So they change their header every week or every day or whatever to what their most desired items are. And I think for us as a club, we feel that the least we can do is
to use the situation that we're in, where people are coming to watch us play football, to help out people who are in a situation where they need the help of Murray Food Plus and things like that. It's the least we can do to sort of give back to our local community.
Yeah, that's a great gesture. And you say it's supporting a good charity in the local community as well, so fantastic. So if you want to get down Sunday, say the Gleaner Arena, 2:00 kick-off against Buchan Ladies, you'll be hoping to build on the momentum you've got at the moment and get a win. That would be a great start to the season.
Yeah, I think going into first league game of this season, everybody wants to have 3 points on the board beside their name after... Well, a lot of teams already have played their first game. It's just us that haven't. I think maybe Ross County as well. But yeah, everybody wants 3 points again, sitting beside their name quite early on in the season. So that'll 100% be the ambition for this weekend. So here's hoping that we can actually go out and do it.
And the ladies, what's the ambitions league-wise this season? Is it to be challenging for promotion?
100%. I think last season, for our first season, to finish in 4th was sort of beyond the expectation of what we wanted. I know Chris and Mo said they wanted 3rd towards the end of the season, and we were quite unlucky to miss out on that. So I think the only thing for us to do this year is to better that and hopefully finish in that top 3, ideally in that top 2 that puts us into the playoff games for the league above. But the playoff picture to get up is no joke. I think it's 4 or 5 games you have to play.
Right, okay.
Because there's obviously the regional league that we play in split into 4, so it's your 4 winners out of that, plus then I think the team that's possibly being relegated from the league above. I don't really know. I just turn up to games and play. I think
you let others worry about
Mo and Chris know all the schematics. I just
aye.
turn up when I'm told to turn up and kick a ball. But that's definitely the aim for the season, is to better what we did last year.
Okay, great stuff. Well, good luck with that, Mel.
Thank you.
That's us come to the end of that. So my thanks to Mel MacDonald, the Elgin City Women's captain. Again, just a wee reminder, if you want to get down and support the ladies, they've had a great start of the season. The first league games at home this Sunday against Buchan Ladies at the Gleaner Arena. Kick-off is 2:00. Right, thanks. You've been listening to the Borough Briggs Beat.